Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of Driftless Knitting. My name is Jennifer, and I'm really glad that you were able to join me today. Thank you for watching again. If you watched the first episode, thank you for coming back. And thank you to subscribing to my channel if you have. If not, that'd be a good thing to do. That way you can get updates and emails when I post a new episode, and you can just keep up with the podcast. Yes, and welcome to new viewers if you haven't watched before. I am feeling slightly under the weather today. We had a big event at Yarnology over the weekend with Arna and Carlos. They came and taught classes and had a meet and greet session, and it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work, and I think I was just a little, I think I was not stressed out, amped up about it, and I think I kind of had the start of a cold for a while now. Because Seaver was sick. My boyfriend, sorry. I don't know if I've ever said his name. My boyfriend, Seaver, was sick last week. And I didn't get it full on for a while. And then I think it was Saturday night when things were coming to a close at the shop. I started feeling the sore throat, the cough, the just tired, just kind of achy, tired. And then yesterday I had it and it's still hanging around, so excuse me if I'm a little, scratchy. I have my coffee here that will hopefully keep me going, but and this mug, I'll tell you about my mug, is from a coffee shop in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which is just over the river that way, and this is from Grounded in La Crosse. And my dad and I used to go here a lot, go to Grounded a lot after golfing. We would golf at one of the golf courses in the La Crosse area, and then Grounded was one of our places that we would go to afterwards. When I was in high school and college and all that, we did a lot of golfing in the area. Him and I are pretty big golfers. Lately, we haven't been doing so much. I think this summer I've only been out once. And last summer I think I only went out once. Which is heartbreaking to me, because the year before that, I think we went out every single week, him and I, which was so nice. We got to spend a lot of time together, but anyway, that's a tangent on golfing. Sorry. I think I'm a little foggy still from the cold or something, so okay, back to yarn. Anyway, Arna and Carlos was really great. I forgot to bring my doll home. I was so sad. I realized yesterday I forgot to bring my doll home. I finished putting the hair on her. Last time you saw her, she was bald, which, yeah, I was a little concerned about that. But no, I put the hair on her over the week and finished up her outfits. Were almost done. I think I had to sew some buttons on or something. Got that finished, and she looks so cute now that she has hair. And we had them all of the dolls that that the employees at Yarnology and friends of the store have knit were lined up on the top of this shelf that we have in the middle of the store with Arna and Carlos's books on it and their yarn and things like that. And so they were kind of this really cute display that we had going on at the shop. So she was part of it, and now she's still there, so I'll get her back next week, and maybe I will show her on hopefully next week's podcast. I'm hoping to do this every week. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, so yeah, she'll be back. I think I named her. People were asking if I had a name for her, and I think her name is going to be Genevieve. Because when I was growing up, my older cousin Lisa, who is an older sister to me, she used to call me Genevieve. That was her nickname for me. She was in French club and all this stuff, so she called me Genevieve, and I always secretly wished that was my real name. And so I think my alter ego, my doll, will have the name Genevieve. I think that's kind of cute. So, all right. Should we look at some works in progress? My first work in progress I didn't even really bother to get out because it's the socks that I was knitting on last week. And I haven't been able to really get much more knitting on there. I think I did a few rounds one night when I wasn't able to grab my other project, and I had that one in my bag, so I just took it out and knit a couple rounds on it. But yeah, there's barely anything to really show you, so I figured I'd wait until I had at least a heel done or something. That way I'm not boring you. But so my next work in progress is brand new to you. You haven't seen it yet because I just started it yesterday and I'm so excited about it. Sorry. Okay, so it's in my my little skein in the big wool bag, the Pioneer Girl bag, my favorite bag. And I'm doing this project out of a yarn that was in my stash because, like I said last week, I am stash busting. I am on a yarn diet. I am using up yarn. And so far I've been good. I've been really, really good. And my friend Carolyn and I, of Chain 344 podcast, she is kind of jumping on board with me. We're going to be like each other's, what did I say, like our sponsors, kind of. That sounds really bad. But yeah, we're going to support each other. A support group. There we go. That's a little more positive than, yeah. Anyway, so this yarn was in my stash. I've had this for several years now. I want to say like maybe three and a half years in my stash. And this is Angel Kiss alpaca yarn. It's a 60, I don't know if you can see that, it's 60% alpaca and 40% merino wool. And it's a worsted weight. And we used to sell this yarn at Yarnology for a few years, I think, a couple years at least. We don't anymore just because we don't tend to keep, we have like a mainstay of yarns that we keep in the shop, but we try and shake it up a little bit. So even if we love a yarn and, you know, people have liked it, if there's another yarn out there that we want to try, you know, we just kind of, I don't know, we don't ever want to be stale. Does that make sense? We always say, like, if someone comes in only once a year, we don't want them to see the same thing in the same spot every year. So we shake it up. Which is good and bad at the same time because I love this yarn and we don't carry it anymore. So I'm not sure if, I think they're out of Wisconsin, but I haven't seen it in any other shop. So, okay, so my project is, I'm going to try and catch the light here again. This is called Dockside by Alicia Plummer. And this was a knit along that she did this past spring, or started in the spring and went throughout the summer, I think. Or I don't know when it started, honestly. I signed up for it because I really, really like Alicia Plummer's designs. I have a few of them in my queue right now and in my favorites in my library on Ravelry. But I don't think I've knit anything by her yet. But when I saw she was doing a knit along, I signed up, bought the patterns, had them sent to me when they came out, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to knit along with it at that point. I just had too much on my plate. But I figured it's not a bad thing to just, you know, go back and knit the knit along all in one fell swoop, instead of doing it like week by week or month by month. So yeah, so all the pattern sections are out now. And I did kind of go on Ravelry and look at a couple finished shawls just because, oh, my yarn is coming undone. Just because I wanted to see how much yardage other people had used up. I only had 3 skeins of this yarn, and I think there's 220 yards in each skein. And at first I can't remember what the pattern said, but at first, for some reason, I thought that wasn't going to be enough. and it's still not of a worsted weight, so I feel like over 600 yards is going to be plenty, but because otherwise it'd be huge. But can you see that? I don't know if you can tell what color it is. It's like a turquoisey greenish blue, which I think is perfect for a dockside, being next to the water. So yeah, I did see some people's finished products, and I didn't look too closely at them because I don't want to, like, you know, ruin it completely for myself. But what I saw, I really liked, so I'm excited about that. And I just started it yesterday. I'm about halfway through the second clue, because the first clue was just the very top of it, that stockinette stitch part, and then the second clue is the eyelets that you saw on there. So yeah, I'm excited. I've never knit a shawl out of worsted weight. I just feel like it's going to be really squishy and cozy and warm, and yeah, something that I can wear around my neck with a winter coat, or if I'm going, you know, if I'm just in the house kind of relaxing, I can throw it on. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. So that's the only thing that I started since last week. But I did finish my spiral blanket of awesome. Sorry, that was a little high-pitched. So this is the blanket. It's a little small right now, but I haven't blocked it yet. So it has a lot. You can see there's a lot of stretch there. And I'll block it out quite a bit just so that I can get as much length as I can out of it. This took almost, I would say, over a skein and a half of Malabrigo stock yarn, which has 460 yards in it. Ooh, I don't know, over 400 yards. So I could have knit it a little bit bigger, but it's a shop sample, and I think it would be big enough for, you know, a baby just to kind of get wrapped up in. It's a lightweight blanket, so it's not going to be anything, you know, that's going to keep them super, super warm. It's more of a fall time or spring blanket. And this, I think, would be big enough to go over a car seat. It could just be a nice, soft thing to get wrapped in. I really like it. So, and the colors are just awesome. That's the Anniversario colorway from Malabrigo. Again, I'm covering up my face, so I have no idea what you can see right now. But I hope you can see the colors on there. It's just really bright and fun. And this took me a little bit longer than I kind of anticipated. I got started and it flew by, of course, because I didn't have very many stitches on there. And then once I got probably over 400 stitches, it kind of dragged on. And like at the end, I think I counted, I think I had close to 650, so like 630, something like that, by the end, and that's why it was taking me forever. So yeah, I was really happy to get that casted off. I casted off most of it Saturday night after Arna and Carlos, which that was when I was getting really sick. So yeah, I must not have really cared. You know, I had to cast off so many stitches, and I think I was just in such a stupor that it didn't faze me. I just was, okay, got it, you know, got to get this done. So usually I would have maybe put off doing that for a little bit, but that worked out. So that's my only finished object of this week. I didn't get as much knitting time because of the event, and the knitting that I did get done was the spiral blanket, so just so I could cast that off. But I will say I feel a little bit more pressure to start new projects or get knitting done because of the podcast. Like, I think about when I'm hopefully gonna tape an episode, and I'm like, okay, well, I better have a project done. I better have something that I can show them, like in finished objects or in works in progress. So Yeah, today I was almost thinking before I was doing this, before I was taping, I was knitting a little bit on my dockside shawl. And I was thinking to myself, well, maybe one work in progress isn't enough. Maybe I need to cast on something else just so I can, like, have something else to show them. But that would be, yeah, I gotta stay true to what I'm actually doing and not just start things, to show you. So, yeah. But I'm sure there will be times where I'll have more than 1 or 2 or 3 works in progress. And that's not necessarily a good thing either, so I don't know. Another tangent, sorry about that. Alright, so I don't have many acquisitions because I'm on a yarn diet. I did, though, receive something in the mail that I ordered for a friend of mine. Asked me if I could knit a mermaid tail, one of those mermaid tail blankets, for her 6-year-old daughter, and for a Christmas present. And I agreed, of course, because I haven't knit one, but they're everywhere on Ravelry and on Pinterest, and they look kind of fun. So I told her yes, I would, and I went online to find this yarn. Even though, of course, I work at a local yarn shop, and I do almost all of my yarn buying at either my local yarn shop or at festivals from dyers. If I'm visiting a town, I will stop at a local yarn shop and buy yarn there. Once in a while, I'll order yarn from like Etsy or something, which, that goes right to the dyer too. So I don't really ever, I can almost say that, I don't know if I've ever ordered yarn from like a box store online. And this was like the one exception, just because it needs to be fairly cheap because I have to have a lot of it. And I don't think my friend wants to pay, a couple $100 for a, merino blend yarn for her daughter's blanket. She'll grow out of it soon. She needs to be able to wash it. And while I know there's beautiful washable yarns that I could have used, I just thought I'd make it easy and just get something online. So I ordered Bernat Softy Chunky. And this has teals and purples, some grays and browns. Oh, that color's not coming in very well there. Closer to the window? No. Anyway, it's not as dark as it looks in the camera. It's coming up a lot darker than it really is. But that's okay. Yeah, so I ordered that. It's an acrylic blend, or no, just acrylic, machine washable and dryable. And again, I don't really use acrylic that much, but it seemed appropriate for this project. And I got a really good deal, I have to say, with this. Yeah, for this project, when it comes to a friend just, commissioning me to make something, I also, I have to have a little bit for, time, so I'll raise the price a little bit for that, but I didn't want the yarn to be super expensive and have her have to pay for the yarn and then for my time. So anyway, sorry. I feel a bit all over the place right now, but I think it's maybe the cold. Yeah, I feel kind of like curling up on the couch with a blanket wrapped around my shoulders. But that's alright. I wanted to take advantage of today. I don't know if I'm going to have another chance this week to podcast. And today's my day off, and Seaver's at school, so I figured now would be the best time. So I took the chance of being a little all over the place and a little scratchy. Alright, so that was my one acquisition of the week. and I figured I would go along the same route I did last podcast episode and show you a few of my favorites in my stash. Last week I showed you what I had gotten at the Jefferson Sheep and Wool Festival, and this time of year is Rhinebeck in Rhinebeck, New York, which is the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. And I'm seeing people post about it already. I think it's sometime in October. And last year I was able to go, which is kind of a dream come true. Rhinebeck is kind of the mecca of yarn and fiber fanatics. And literally there are books written about it, like pattern books. People just talk about Rhinebeck. It's one of the most famous wool festivals. And my friend Lisa from Three Sisters Farm and Fiber, which I think she changed her name to just Three Sisters Fiber now. She and our friend Donnery, who is in, I think she's in the Marine Corps now, I think. She joined. Anyway, yay Donnery. I haven't seen her in a little while. So the three of us road tripped out to New York last year for a 2-day festival. We drove Thursday night into Friday afternoon. We got there Friday afternoon, went to the festival Saturday, went back Sunday, got up super, super early Monday morning. I would say we left New York about 3 in the morning, 3 or 3:30. And we drove from Monday morning and got home Monday night. Because I think it's about an 18-hour drive, I think. Anyway, it was super fun. We were really, really sleep deprived, but we got to go to the festival grounds and see some yarn dyers that I've only seen on the internet or even just heard about. We kind of just bonded over, having to eat McDonald's breakfasts and being in a car together for that long. And then, and we, like, after the festival, we would sit and knit in our Airbnb house, and we would spread out our, the yarn and fiber that we had gotten and look at it all and touch it again because it was just that exciting. And yeah, it was awesome. So I'm sad, of course, that I'm not going this year, but I knew I wouldn't be able to. It's gonna be like a once every, I don't know how many years. Maybe I'll get there again, I think I will, but it might not be for a while. So I thought I'd show you the yarns that I got at Rhinebeck, since they are some of my favorite stash yarns. Let's start with, this was my first purchase at Rhinebeck, I remember, because my hometown of Marengo, Illinois has a yarn shop called The Fold, and they were there, and I couldn't believe it, really. I took a picture in front of the sign that said The Fold, Marengo, Illinois, and it's on my Instagram. You can probably page back and see it. And I made the joke that I had to drive all the way to New York State to go to my local yarn shop from my hometown. So they were selling, at festivals they sell Socks That Rock, the brand. They don't make it, but they sell it at festivals. So this is the Rhinebeck Sock 2015 colorway. I don't know if it's picking up the colors very well, but there's light greens and light blues. There's a really deep plum color in there, and then a darker green. And they all kind of go really, really well together, kind of fading one to the next. And yeah, this is by Blue Moon Fiber Arts. That's the company. And I haven't knit with Socks That Rock before, but I've heard really, really good things about it. And I couldn't pass up a special colorway. This obviously is not available again because it's the Rhinebeck 2015 colorway. And yeah, I had to get it. So that was my first Rhinebeck purchase. And I don't know what order the rest of these were in, but I'll just grab them. We went to, there's so many booths at Rhinebeck. It's crazy. It's a little overwhelming because you feel like you need to see everything first before you purchase anything, which is hard because by the time you finish looking at all the booths, you forget what you've seen and where, you're like, okay, there's that really pretty yarn, but was that in the first building or the third building, or was that, so you almost need to make a list, and it sounds so silly, but like chart it out kind of and just make like your priority, like I liked this more than that one, but I liked that one more than this one, so that when you go back on the second day you can find the yarns that you had, that you liked again. But there were some places like with the 2015 colorway, I bought right away. And another one that I went to and bought yarn from right away was the O Wool stand. And O Wool is a really cool company, and they do things very organically and sustainably. So their dye processes, their spinning processes, even I know their sock weight is superwash, and I want to say that they do a sustainable method for making their wool superwash, which is amazing because if you don't know much about the way that they make wool superwash, there's a couple different ways to do it, but most of them have to do with either coating the yarn in a substance that makes it unable to felt to itself, or they kind of burn off the barbs that would make wool felt and shrink. And both ways kind of take away a lot of the awesome characteristics of wool. And I love wool. I think wool is amazing. And while I still knit with superwash, I shouldn't say I try not to. I would rather not. So anyway, I think it's really cool that the way that they do make superwash wool is just a little more eco-friendly. So I bought 2 skeins. Hopefully that made sense. I'm sorry. I bought 2 skeins of O Wool Local, and this one is a blue color, kind of like a denim-y blue, and this is tan. Sorry. And I want to do something with them together. I want to knit them together because this is my favorite color combination, is blue and brown, blue and tan. And it's a worsted weight, I believe, a single ply worsted weight. And it's 50% certified organic merino and 50% alpaca. And they're from farms in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, which I think it's cool that she's out on the East Coast, I believe, so it's cool that her yarn, or her wool that she's using in her yarn, is local. So, alright, another yarn that I bought, and this is another kind of East Coast yarn. I was trying to get yarns that I couldn't find around here, either locally dyed or with using local wool. And this is a worsted weight from, what does it say? Is that Shimmy? Dancing Leaf Farm. I think Shimmy is the yarn base. Dancing Leaf Farm is in, oh, I should have done my research, Pennsylvania. Yeah. And it's spun there, dyed there. I think it's really cool. This colorway is called Woodsy, and there are greens, I'm trying to find the best place for light in this room. I don't know. I'll just hold it up there and you can see what you can see. Oh no, I have it upside down. I'm a mess, I'm telling you. Alright, so it's grays and browns, greens, tans, and I just really, really liked the earthiness of it. If you can't tell, earthy colors are kind of my thing, even though I'm wearing like a super bright shawl right now. Well, it's super bright to my standards. This is the Bad Oyster shawl, by the way, and it's out of a Knit Circus gradient yarn. So you can see it goes from yellow to pink to gray, and I love it. And I had to put a little something extra around my neck today because it's chilly. I'm actually cold. I had to close all the doors and windows because the breeze is actually fall-like, which I'm excited about. Alright, so my next one, if you can't tell, I bought quite a bit of yarn at Rhinebeck. Not as bad as I could have, though. There were so many more I wanted to buy. Alright, so this is a New York wool, and it's kind of a more rustic spun wool. Oh, and I'm noticing there's like a bunch of fur in there. Not fur, wool. Don't want you to think I have like random animals running around. Okay, so this is like a turquoise blue color, and this is New York wool, and yeah, it's a worsted weight, and this is from Bat and Kill Fibers, and I really just liked the color. I liked that it was from New York State. It's hand dyed. It's very tonal, although there's some like darker spots you can see in here, and then the lighter ones. And I'm not sure what I'll do with this. I'm thinking I have a hat pattern that I just designed that will be available soon, hopefully. And I was thinking it would make a really, really nice squishy hat from that pattern. So maybe I'll do that with that. So anyway, I also bought some yarn from that booth from Bat and Kill Fibers and gave it to my Tante Margie as a Christmas present because she is also a knitter, as I explained last episode. And my cousin Eric, her son, actually lives in New York City right now. And I thought it was a fun connection just to get some New York wool that she can do something with. And that was in a natural brown color. I think I gave her 2 skeins of that. So she'll be able to knit a project with it. So I don't have that to show you, obviously, so I thought I'd explain. Alright, so my last yarn to show you, 2 different skeins but from the same booth. This is Miss Babs, and experiencing the Miss Babs booth was crazy. There was a line out the door, out the building, around the side of the building, almost wrapping around, and we were inside looking. We were in line for something. I think for the Lisa and Donnery were buying wool. Oh my gosh, I can't even think. Yeah, they were buying bags of wool, and we were seeing this long line of people, and they sent me out to investigate. We had to know what they were in line for. And I walked up to the end of the line and asked the lady that was standing there what she was in line for. And she didn't look at me like I was like, you know, ignorant or anything, but she was just like, well, it's Miss Babs. As if like, well, of course, like, you know, doesn't everyone know that Miss Babs is here in that building? And yeah, it was kind of funny. So we went back on Sunday. We did not even attempt to get near her booth on Saturday, and it worked. We got there a little early. I think that was one of the first ones we went to Sunday morning, just because we knew how busy her booth was going to get. And the day before, they had only been letting certain amounts of people in to the booth area, or to the shopping area at a time, and because they didn't want it to get too crowded. And I don't think they were doing that yet on Sunday when we got there, but it was still, there was quite a few people. And Miss Babs also dyed a 2015 Rhinebeck colorway, and her interpretation was a little bit different. The colors are so muted on the camera, but it's greens and golds and purples, and in between all those colors there are just variations of, you know, you can see the dark plum purple and then the lighter kind of lilac in between there, light green, dark green, yellow, gold, just beautiful. And this is a lace weight yarn, 65 merino wool and 35 silk. And there's 400 yards in this, and I actually got 2 skeins of this lace weight. So I have 800 yards of lace weight to do something with, and I have no idea what I'll do, but it's kind of a fun prospect. And then we went back a little bit later because there was just so much yarn and we felt like we didn't get a chance to just really soak it in. So after doing the rest of the festival again, the rest of the booths, we went back to Miss Babs, and I had been thinking about this yarn. I had seen it in a bigger skein in one of her like gigantic, she has these skeins of yarn that are like 2,000 yards. And I didn't want one of those. I actually have one of those, but in my stash. So I didn't want another one, but I loved this colorway, and this is called Coffee Break, which is pretty appropriate for me. But it has some browns. I wish you could see in that brown right there, it almost goes to this like burnt orange, and it is just gorgeous. And there are blues and dark grays, grayish blues. It's just, yeah, it's incredibly gorgeous. A little bit of yellow there in with that brown. The camera does not do it justice. I wonder if there's a light right here. I wonder if that would help. Ooh, suddenly it's so bright. Oh, a little bit, yeah. Very cool. Alright, gotta remember that trick. So there you can see it kind of, it's almost like, in real life it almost glows. It is so pretty. So that was one of my favorites from Rhinebeck. Coffee Break. Love it. So yeah, so I came away with a pretty good haul. I didn't get any fiber at Rhinebeck. I didn't get any spinning fiber. I didn't get a fleece. That was the word I was searching for earlier. Lisa and Donna each got a couple fleeces, but I did not get one. But yeah, it was just a really good time, and I have really, really good memories of going out there. So those are kind of like my prized possessions, some of my prized possessions in my stash. And I think I'm going to have to convince myself to finally use them. They're almost like treasures, and I'm kind of hoarding them away. So I'm going to have to talk myself into breaking them open and getting them wound up. But I think I will. I'm very excited to be able to use them someday. So, alright, well that's about it for me today. I just wanted to touch base and get a second episode filmed. Hopefully next time I won't be feeling kind of sick. Yeah, so I hope that you guys have a really good week, and thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks so much.